What's up, y'all? Welcome. We're a man short this week. Sorry about that, but I do want to, before I forget, normally you would see Brick here with us as well. We owe Brick a happy belated birthday, as his birthday was 2 days ago. So I
Yeah, and
assume he's still hungover.
I was asking him, yeah, two or whatever day his birthday was on. Was that 2 days ago?
Yeah,
Was that Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday. Oh yeah,
Today's
it's Monday.
Monday.
Feels like a Sunday. But he was getting sick when I spoke with him. So I don't even think he had any plans. He was like, I'm just laying in bed. I feel this sickness coming. So hopefully it's not the Cron of Omi. But I'm a little doubtful
I was
that it's not.
100% sure that he was just hungover as dick because he watched football all day yesterday, like the rest of us, like the rest
Yeah.
of good Americans watching football.
It took a lot in me to not drink yesterday.
You didn't drink at all?
No, I went out Saturday, drank a fair amount, but I felt fine in the morning. Woke up when Nolan got up pretty much. And then throughout the day, I'm like, I don't have that much of an urge, and I'm just going to try to hold off. And I ended up holding off. So,
Wow, it kind of sounds like you're being a coward, but that's all
yeah.
right. I guess you didn't text me, or you only texted me once to go to a bar this weekend. And I think that was like an errant text that you meant to send to someone else because you knew I was going to make fun of you.
No, it wasn't.
That was to me.
Yeah, it was to you.
Okay, so you just wanted to get shit faced before we went to watch Scream.
Exactly.
All right, I guess I respect that.
I went to the bar. I had 2 beers before before I went to Scream.
Did it impact? Oh, that's why you had to get up and pee 7 times. Did it impact your enjoyment of the film?
It's a perfect movie to have a couple beers before. I'll just start by saying that. Those core like 2000 type slashers with all teenagers and everything's kind of campy-ish. Those are some great movies
I think
to crush a couple
usually
brews before.
you get stoned for those movies though because they're dumb, and the only way that the characters in the movies could possibly be that dumb is if they were under the influence of some sort of drug or maybe even alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's good. But so you went to the Bulls game yesterday?
I went to the Bulls game. No, I went to the Hawks game. We
Okay,
were in the
that one makes
BMO
even less sense.
we were in the BMO Harris. Well, one of the main reasons I went is because my buddy got tickets through his work. One of his clients was like, "Here, they're based out of California, I guess, but they have BMO Harris Club tickets, which is it's essentially
Wasteful.
just it's a big buffet. They're not boxes; it's like one huge box of just buffet food and all you can drink, whatever.
This
But yeah,
isn't the
you
Bud Light Lounge, is it?
no, no, no.
Okay.
There's a whole section. It's on one end of the arena. It's like behind, I don't know what goal it is, if it's the home goal.
Makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah, you're just looking down at all the peasants, just drinking your old fashions, just like
But you weren't. You went to this opportunity where you could get absolutely obliterated for free, and you didn't.
yeah. No, I did. I did. It was a long night though. I mean,
Okay.
well, we didn't go out that late. We went to like I think one or two bars afterwards. But yeah, when we got there right when the game started. So at 6:30 ish. And we were drinking pretty heavily up until like 10 o'clock. And then I kind of weaned it down.
So how much money did you lose yesterday or this weekend in general?
A lot in for my gambling, which is like $60-$70. It's just like
I mean, it
compared to
doesn't sound like a ton, but when you're making $5 bets, that means you had to lose 14 bets.
well, I think I put in Bet Rivers was doing a special where it's like $25 bets for same game parlays, and if you make three of them, we'll give you a free $25 bet. So I bet around $70, $75, and I lost it all.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse. But this was also the chalkiest NFL playoff weekend of all time. Granted, there's
Mhm.
still a game to be held tonight, but I think I picked every game correct, and that's not even like bragging. That was just kind of easy.
Yeah, I my biggest upset from yesterday was I bet a same game parlay on the Bucks. I had Mike Evans touchdown.
Which you did.
Um, I had what else did I have? I think I had some receiving yards for him that I hit as well. But then I had Tom Brady 2.5 touchdown passes.
Oh
He fucking
no.
had to. I was so mad. I wanted, and they kept him in when they're like at the end of the third
Well, the
quarter. They're
Eagles
like,
started
oh
coming back.
yeah, well I know, but after the end of the third quarter, I think they scored one touchdown. They're like, they'll probably take him out. I'm just like, no, and then
They
they
had too
kept
many
him in.
running
So
touchdowns. It was
I
never
had
going to
some hope.
happen. Yeah.
I had hope, but it didn't happen.
The people in Vegas always know better than you. Always, always, always. That line's always going to be within like a half a touchdown of wherever that quarterback's going to land. It's fucking insane to me. And I just want one of them to sit me down and walk me through their spreadsheets and be like, this is how we know everything.
Yeah, it could have went either way. I could have picked Tom Brady under 2.5 touchdowns, but I didn't. And the odds is him throwing over 2.5 touchdowns. But
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I was down a couple units too. I'm going to call it units so that I don't feel as bad and it makes me sound like a professional investor. But I'm just a moron in actuality. I think I hit like one parlay and the rest was just trash. Not a great weekend for football, although I'm very happy that playoff football is here. I think tonight might be the best game, Cardinals-Rams. But in reality, we're all just waiting for next weekend. I do think it's incredibly stupid that they put a Monday night game in the playoffs because no matter what, that one team has a day disadvantage from when they play next. So they're going to play next Sunday for sure, but still, that doesn't feel very fair to me.
yeah, this is a nice weekend for football, or was a nice weekend. The weekend's over.
Well, kind of. But on to more important things, because, Mark, I kicked Pudding's ass.
Who's pudding?
Pudding is banana pudding.
Oh, dude, that you're disgusting. But go on.
Okay. First of all, I recognize fully that I'm jinxing myself here because there is still a possibility that I could get sick. I've got like a couple days left before the timer goes off, and also I had another pint of it like yesterday.
Yeah.
So my wife orders banana pudding from Magnolia Cafe or Bakery or whatever the fuck it's called. It's like world famous banana pudding. And they have all these different variants. Like one of them is Nutella or like hazelnut, and then the other one is red velvet cupcakes. So they they just make this incredible banana pudding and then drop a red velvet cupcake in there and you just dig through it. It's fucking delicious, okay? But when you order this, there's a bakery in Chicago, but you have to order it and they ship it to you in like dry ice and it shows up cold. Obviously, if it gets warm, you're kind of fucked because then you end up getting food poisoning or E. coli or whatever the hell it is. But it was supposed to arrive last Wednesday and it ends up showing up Friday. So my wife calls and it's like, hey, this stuff's 2 days late. And they're like, absolutely do not eat it. Mark, it was $80 worth of banana pudding.
Why did Erica buy this pudding? Was there a sale on it?
No, it was kind of just like a treat yourself sort of thing.
Okay.
Like we talked about it. We've had it before, but we don't usually order that much. We don't usually order $80 worth of banana pudding. So granted, that's a little bit out there, but long story short, I ate 3 of them on Friday. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be fine.
I mean, if you didn't go into like a diabetic coma, that's the one thing is I would just be afraid of getting diabetes at this point, not even the food poisoning.
Diabetes, really? You think I'm that out of shape?
And I want to just clarify something because I thought I knew how long it would take to get food poisoning, like when the symptoms start happening. I always thought it was like could go up to like 48 hours. So like I was looking at a stat the other day because I was arguing with somebody and I was wrong. It's actually food, like 90% of food poisoning happens within like 4 to 8 hours of eating it. And I always thought it happens 2 days later. It does not usually.
Well, it depends because there's obviously like, 15 different types of bacteria that can cause this. And Dr. Boy Tom, who's in our Discord channel, he always gives me shit about what I do no matter what, even though I'm way more healthy than he is. I'm pretty sure he's a doctor who still smokes. But he sent me a list of all the different bacteria that could basically kill me from the inside out after I ate this fucking pudding. I'm like, dude, you're a good friend.
Wait, you texted this guy after?
No, it's in the Discord.
Oh yeah, okay, got you.
Yeah, that's Dr. Boy Tom. I went to high school with him, and he's an anesthesiologist, so he's not even a real doctor.
Yeah, that's not a real profession.
So you would not have eaten the pudding, is what you're telling me?
I'm kind of crazy. You know how I am about food, especially when I used to meal prep for my competitions and stuff. Didn't I used to have you check the inside of chicken to make sure it was cooked all
Yeah.
the way?
And you'd be like, "Is this cooked?" And it's like bright pink. And I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?
I
You
get
might as
pretty
well just
paranoid
boil
about
it."
I get paranoid about bacteria. I am kind of a bacteria police with food. Kelly's family will they'll eat food. It will be sitting out for like 2 hours, and then at that point, I'm like, you need to refrigerate it within an hour. I'm already freaking out. And then they'll refrigerate it, and then they'll like heat it up and eat it, and then put it back in the fridge. I'm like, no, no, dude, you need to toss it out.
You're living your
So
life scared, man.
yeah, I don't
You're
know.
missing out on so much.
I'm scared to even just reheat food, especially if it's been sitting out for longer than an hour.
You're a coward. That's coward talk.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had food poisoning, knock on wood.
Oh, you are definitely going to get it now. I've definitely had it. Well, it's weird because you never know if it's like the weird 24-hour flu or if you're shitting and vomiting for some other reason at the same time. But I mean, look, I made a calculated risk, and thus far, it has paid off because the pudding was incredible.
Good.
All right.
Because because it was made with dairy and all that shit, I think you would have known if it was perished, like if it was spoiled.
All right. Here's the other thing that I think is going to make you really grossed out. There's like actual banana chunks in it, and they're just like a little bit brown. They're not like, a banana that's been sitting out on the counter all day, but they're like starting to turn a little bit, like the air is getting to it.
That doesn't scare me that much. I mean, have you ever like eaten half a banana and left the other half out?
Oh,
it
yeah,
goes brown within 20 minutes. It
Yeah.
will start browning.
No question.
Yeah, that's
Look,
not that scary.
All I'm saying is that I fought pudding and I won.
You won.
All right.
For now. Let's talk about Logan Paul, dude. Let's talk about taking risks.
Let's save that for best man. I just played the drop for trailers, and we got a couple of these we want to get through. And frankly, since Brick's not here, I think we can kind of keep this episode a little bit more to the point. There's a couple trailers in here that I don't know. I wanted to ask you about Studio 666 because you're a music guy. I like Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, but this is a Foo Fighters movie.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Foo Fighters guy? I know that you respect Dave Grohl. He's like one of the most talented musicians out there.
I'm a Foo Fighters guy. One of my favorite YouTube videos is Kiss Guy. Have you ever seen that video?
Yes.
Where they pull the fan up on stage and he just shreds with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Grohl seems like a down-to-earth, amazing dude. And I don't know if this movie is going to be all that great. I thought it had like the Spinal Tap vibes at first. I didn't know it was going to go like this super weird horror vampire type route. But it seems to be going that way. And I also was surprised that this is actually coming out in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to go right to streaming or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you made the Spinal Tap reference. I would lean more towards like Pick of Destiny, and Dave Grohl was in that with Tenacious D. That's kind of the vibe that I get from this, is just kind of stupid, down to earth. The devil will show up at some point because why not?
Yeah.
But that's probably about all we need to say about this.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be more of a writer's block, like comedy. And then when they went into the haunted house, I was like, okay, this is going to be a cheesy horror type film.
Should mention, though, it also does have Will Forte, Whitney Cummings, Jeff Garland. So there is some actual star power there, not just musicians. But
yeah.
In other news of things that we typically don't really care about, you've never really watched Critical Role, have you?
I've listened to Critical Role.
Okay.
I've not. I've watched some of their stuff on YouTube, but I think they transfer everything to a podcast. I'm pretty sure I've listened to a whole session that they've done.
Okay. They have really long sessions, and there's hundreds of them, so it's really hard to keep up with. Either you're in it or you're not at this point. They start over seasons and stuff, but they've been working a lot with Amazon, and specifically Amazon Prime, and I don't know what this Legend of Vox Machina is, but this is supposedly the people that brought you Critical Role, and this is an animated kind of D&D sort of story. Does this look good to you at all?
Yeah. I like the animation style. It Wait, is this Netflix, did you say, or is this Amazon?
Amazon, I believe.
Okay, so we'll compare it to, it's got like the Invincible style. I was going to say Legend of Korra or Castlevania. Like it's got that anime type feel to it, but it's not quite anime. I appreciate what they did with animation in this. I think what is going to make this a good, long-lasting, more long-lasting show, like more than 2-3 seasons, will be if it's funny enough. I feel like this sort of thing has to be pretty funny. But we'll see. Is everyone in the voice cast a part of Critical Role?
I don't know the answer to that. And
Okay.
look, I'm an ancillary fan of that at best. And to be honest, some of the comedy in this quote unquote was just kind of cringy. And I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't think this is going to be for me.
Yeah. In a world where we get so much animation now, too, with all the streaming platforms, you really have to stand out. Even like Invincible was pretty fucking hilarious when it had to be.
Yeah, no question. The writing in that was incredible. It's very well
Yeah.
done. I can't wait for that to come back.
Yeah. And I mean all the people on Critical Role, for obvious reasons, are really good at voice acting and playing whatever their characters. So it would be a surprise to me if everyone that's doing the voice acting had nothing to do with Critical Role, maybe besides the one DM that
Yeah, Matt
everyone
Mercer.
that's who I think of, the guy with the longish hair.
Yeah, his name's Matt Mercer. He's a millionaire at this point for playing Dungeons and Dragons. Very jealous.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this out for sure though.
Okay. Are you a Bob's Burgers guy?
No. I've always wanted I've wanted to start it up because it's like one of those unexpected animations that I thought it was going to be done after like 3 seasons, but it's stuck around for what? It's like on 10 seasons now or something.
It's the
And
American Dad model.
yeah, everyone that watches it loves it.
It's
So
yeah.
I've always wanted to check it out.
You should. It's a very throw it on in the background type of thing. It's not a linear story in any way, shape, or form, but it's very funny. It's satirical, kind of off the wall stuff. But anyways, the movie's coming May 27th. They've been talking about this for years. I'm just really happy that it's here. Give me all of this content that you can. You know, I'm a sucker for animated cartoon sitcom style setups, and that's exactly what this is.
I'm a sucker for whenever they take an animated series and make it into a movie, and they're usually pretty good at fucking doing it. Like the Simpson movie, I thought was pretty great.
People sleep on that movie. It's incredible.
Bigger, Better, Uncut, South Park, that was fucking amazing. And then even like the Hey Arnold movie, I love that shit. It was a great movie.
Nothing to add to this conversation.
It's like the polar opposite of video game movies. Whenever there's a TV show, they usually are able to make a pretty solid movie about it.
That's
Video
fair.
games, not so much.
Okay. Mark, what if I told you that Siri was the devil and the devil was listening to you all the time and maybe you were going to get murdered, but nobody would do anything about it because they work at Amazon and they don't care about you or your privacy?
Yeah. This movie looks absolutely horrid.
So we're talking about Kimi, which is the movie starring Zoe Kravitz coming to HBO Max on February 10th. Yeah, this is one of those where when it was in production, they were like, this will make it to the theaters. And then they were like, oh no, this movie is not going to be good. Oh, great, a pandemic. We can slide it onto our streaming service. So Zoe Kravitz is a character who listens to recordings to like help people who need it. And they basically have everybody has these Siri-like devices in their home or, whatever, Alexa, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And she hears somebody getting murdered and everybody just tries to cover it up. So obviously there's some subterfuge there and weird stuff, but this is not going to be a good movie.
Could she not look more like the stereotypical I'm in IT for a living, but want to be my own independent person, like kind of character with her dyed neon blue hair, cyberpunk
that hair is
looking?
Bad.
Yeah, she's so good looking though. I really don't care. I'm just like, do whatever you want.
Fair enough. I think that's probably about the nicest thing we can say about this. I didn't see anybody else in there that I recognized. The setting looks dark and dingy. I'm not into this.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it.
We will end on a high note, though, with the trailer for Last Looks. I gotta say, in 2022, I didn't think I would see a trailer for a movie with Charlie Hunnam and Mel Gibson and think that this could be good. But, I mean, this is the kind of character that I think Mel Gibson should be playing now. Not the over the top action hero, but the eccentric weirdo who I don't know is accused of murdering his wife. He's a drunk. Okay, so let's do the setup on this. Charlie Hunnam is an ex-LAPD officer. He's not a cop anymore. He lives in the woods like a fucking weirdo. Mel Gibson is this actor who plays on a TV show, probably like a, I don't know, like a As the World Turns or whatever. But he's been famous forever, drunk all the time, eccentric, whatever. One day his wife is found dead. Charlie Hunnam shows up and is trying to clear Mel Gibson or maybe prove that he did it. I don't know. But the purpose of this, I think, is as a comedy, and it seems to deliver that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mel Gibson, I think, is going to put on a really good performance just from what I've seen thus far in the trailer. I was not ready for Charlie Hunnam to shave his beard at one point at the end of the trailer. That was kind of weird to see. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him with a shaved face.
That is probably a little bit jarring.
Yeah, he looks fine. He just looks 15 years younger. Looks like a boy, kind of. It's weird.
He has to do that though, right? Like, you can't be typecast as a dude with a beard. You have to.
But
he's like Nick Offerman. Like, Nick Offerman couldn't get a job right now if he went and shaved.
Yeah.
So he's got to flip the script. He's got to get this job first, start off the movie with the beard, and then he can shave it, and then all of a sudden he can make a career pivot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one reminded me of, the setting's different because it reminded me of, I think it was called The Nice Guys or Nice Guys with
Sure.
Russell Crowe and Ryan. Why am I forgetting his name? Best
Gosling?
looking Hollywood. Gosling. There you go. It reminded me of that, but that movie was set in like the 70s or early 80s or whatever. But I think it's gonna have that sort of back and forth funny dynamic between Mel Gibson and Hunnam. So I'm looking forward to that.
Mel Gibson looks hilarious in this, and that's not something I expected to be saying today. But
yeah,
all right,
whatever.
Let's hit a little bit of news really quickly. Fans of Nicolas Cage can rejoice now. If you saw Pig, you know why we love him so much. His powerful, quiet performance and the, I guess, just the spectacle that the director got out of Nicolas Cage for this. Well, now this director's getting another chance to shine. Okay, Michael Sarnoski is his name, and he's currently in talks to direct A Quiet Place, the third entry into this.
Mm-hmm.
So, would that make you more likely to see this or less likely?
I would say more likely. I mean, Pig was freaking amazing. Is Krasinski gonna keep? What was he doing? He was writing, producing. I feel like he was doing everything. He's
been writing and directing. My guess is that he's going to step back for this one and just be like an EP on it, meaning that like he might still write the story, he'll fund it and get all the stuff made, but it does. I mean, spoiler alert: he dies in the first one. You can't have him in the movie still unless it's a flashback. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Let's get a different take on it. I didn't love the second one as much. It's kind of dumb. Didn't hold together very well. So maybe. I guess that's more of a writing thing than a directing thing, but maybe they can fix it.
Yeah. These movies are hard, though, to not be super critical of. When you watch them, you're just like, I would never do that. I would know that nail is there, and I would not step on it when this monster is right behind me. Like, there's just so many things, but that's what makes these movies also good and intensifies them when you're watching them, is because they make stupid decisions.
Absolutely. And the same thing is true of Scream, the movie that we're going to review later on, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of just what you get with a horror movie like this. So
yeah, I'm also hoping that Krasinski is not necessarily stepping away, but letting somebody else step in and do more of the writing or directing or whatever, because he is most likely taking on some other work, aka Reed, Fantastic Four, Reed Richards.
I figured he'd come back and do more Amazon shit.
Well, that the news was breaking. News all over Twitter was breaking today. I don't know if it's some garbage piece that some comic book website wannabe writer just started spewing, and it caught traction. But there are a lot of people saying that it is near confirmed that John Krasinski as Reed Richards will show up, I believe, in or some sort of variant of Reed Richards. I don't know what that means, but will show up in
Multiverse.
the Doctor Strange show that's coming out.
So is this all really just due to our old friend Boss Logic?
Could be.
I'm pretty sure that the only reason that anyone thought of him in the first place is that he put out a rendering of like the gray sideburns of John Krasinski, and it looked pretty convincing.
Yeah, he's really like Taron Egerton. I never thought he would have been that good of a Wolverine, but Boss Logic is always very talented, and even if it's somebody that you're not sold on right away, whenever he does his whole like picture mashup thing where he makes the person the character, especially superhero wise, you're like, okay, I can kind of see it now.
He sees things that other people don't see.
Yeah, and somebody actually on Twitter said they wanted to see Glenn Howerton, that he would be the perfect Reed Richards, and I'm like, you know what, that actually might work.
I can see that.
Yeah.
He could play the super genius who talks down to everybody. I think he's got some experience with that.
Yeah.
All right, last bit of news. Netflix just got more expensive. The standard plan, which I assume most people probably have, allows for 2 simultaneous streams in 4K. Went to $15.50 a month, up from $14. At what point people start canceling their subscriptions, I don't know. But these are getting more and more frequent. I think it's probably gone up like $4 this year in the last count, or in the last actual year. I don't know. At what point do you cut this off?
When Netflix pulls back the reins on their own titles and new ideas and things that they're producing, and trying to think of one specific show or movie that I've really enjoyed.
Cobra
in
Kai.
the past year. Cobra Kai, watching that now, I'm like, okay, I can't lose this. Like, I have to finish this. But as long as they can acquire properties or at least come up with something that is appealing, I'll keep paying. I would probably even pay up to $17 a month now. And they're going to keep increasing every couple of years. We know
Stranger Things is coming back. At this point, they're just trying to keep up with inflation. But
yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Do you think they're ever going to either partner or do their own live television streaming? Because what I've noticed lately is, Hulu's its own thing because they're part of Disney. So now they have a package where you get Disney Plus. You really don't have a way around it. If you want live TV, you pretty much bundle it with Disney Plus, as well as I think you get like ESPN Plus. I'm just curious, do you think Netflix will ever do their own live television thing for $70-$80 a month? Or if they're going to partner with maybe like a YouTube TV or something like that?
I think that those other companies do that because they don't have a strong footing in that area. Like, I didn't know a lot of people who paid for ESPN Plus. So if you can throw that onto a Disney subscription, even for somebody who would never use it or uses it like twice a year, you're still increasing your revenue there. I don't see them having the need to do that. What I would do if I were them is put together 15 channels. And on those channels, they're just scrolling and they're running it in at any given time. There's like one for sitcoms. There's one for Netflix original content. There's a kids channel. There's Stranger Things only, like sci-fi stuff like that. A lot of times I would never get into something by the first episode. Like, do you remember in the old days when you would watch TV on cable and you'd catch an episode of something and be like, okay, damn, that kind of slaps. I'm going to go back and watch this. Now that doesn't happen anymore. You have to basically binge watch an entire show to catch something you might like. And I think that would be a good way for them to get some of their more original content to get some traction.
Yeah, it's that kind of is. It's funny you mentioned that because there's talk in like the comic book community right now about how these writers are coming out and saying it's hard to sell books because all the readers are so set on, if I don't pick this up first issue, I'm not going to continue reading it. And I think that has to do with when we were younger too. We didn't have so much different distraction going on. We didn't have all these shows we could stream. We didn't have all these things we could watch on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. And with that, it was like, oh, I'm just going to pick up this comic book to entertain me, even if I'm jumping in midway through the arc or, towards the end of it. You didn't care. You're just like, then that made you go back, maybe reread it. but we're at a point where it's like, yeah, to your point, it's hard to start something midway, especially like a big show you're hearing people talk about. And it goes with comic books too. People are not willing to pick up issue 4 of a comic book run. They want issue 1, or they're going to wait till the paperback comes out.
And that's why I used to get so pissed when Marvel would try to cross over every single book that they did, because I couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Oh, well. All right, let's move on.
Here's some money. Go see a Star Wars.
I will say that this is probably a good time for Netflix to announce their price increase, because they are bringing back this year like Stranger Things, which is, I think that's probably their flagship property, right?
Yeah.
You could have argued for a while there, House of Cards and shit like that, but I'm pretty sure that's the one that people think of now.
Yeah.
All right, recommendations. Mark, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to kick this off. Do you really want to taste it? Peacemaker is incredible. I've only watched one episode. I watched it this morning, but I was in stitches. I was laughing my ass off. It's so over the top and stupid, and James Gunn has done it again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've only seen one episode. It could suck, but
I didn't have another recommendation besides this either. This is my recommendation. I'm actually midway through episode 2, and episode 2 just picks right back up where episode 1 ends, which is perfect. They don't like try to do some flashback type shit. What I like about this, I feel like it's just going to be one continuous story, and it's going to be hilarious. We're going to get some new characters introduced throughout it, and I don't know. Are you starting to sympathize with John Cena, the Peacemaker character now, or are you?
Yeah, once you see his dad, I think it's pretty easy to. His dad's a huge piece of shit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, he's an oblivious character. He's kind of this fish out of water, and the story just works.
Yeah.
The ending 5 minutes of the episode 1, I was just dying laughing. This woman with her super 80s big hair beating the fuck out of John. I don't want to spoil it, but it ends in a hilarious fashion. Eagly is the star of the show. I don't know what else you say. It's just fucking incredible.
Yeah. There's so much good shit going on with it so far. One show I've been continuing to give it a chance. In episode 2, I recall I said was pretty good and redeemed itself. But man, Boba Fett episode 3 was just so bad. I don't know what to say more about it. It was just really bad. And I think Twitter blew up. I think a lot of people knew it was bad. Even some of the huge Star Wars, like, oh, well, that was because it's canon and they were trying to reference this and that and that.
It's supposed to be bad.
Yeah, you can't overlook it. You can't make that excuse every single time.
They're referencing the Christmas special.
Dude, episode 3 was just, oh God, it was cringy. I'm gonna keep watching it. We'll see what happens. I just don't think I don't even know his name, but I don't think the Boba Fett guy can lead a show. All right. It's simple as that. I don't think he has what it takes to really carry a show like this.
It's interesting. I was listening to, or I read an interview with him where he was talking about how he would love to be like live action, the clones from the Clone Wars, like Rex and all that stuff. And I'm just thinking, ooh, yeah, I'd like that too, but I'm not a very good actor either.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of let down by it. Happy that Peacemaker's around though. I'll just say that.
I'll stick with it. Maybe it'll come together.
Yeah.
I did also want to recommend, Mark, have you heard anything about Wordle?
I've seen a lot about Wordle all over Twitter. I have no idea what it is though.
It's just a word game that refreshes. So if you just Google Wordle, Wordle, it's a really simple game. Apparently there was a game show based on it like in the 70s or 80s or whatever. But it's a 5-letter word every day, and you get 6 chances to guess it. So, for example, I go in and like the first word I put in is Earth.
Yeah.
It'll tell me which letters are in the actual word that I'm supposed to be guessing. And if I have any of them in the right place, it'll also tell me that. And you just keep guessing until you get the word. It's really dumb, but simple enough that it's like it makes your brain work for a few minutes a day. Usually I just wake up and I'm having my coffee and I'm just checking out the Wordle. So it's easy, fun to share.
Does it have any connection with like your user or whatever? Because I see people posting their Wordle, like their own Wordle. I don't know if it's connected to their user or if it's just they're saying, hey, this is the Wordle I got. Can you solve it? Is that basically what they're doing?
You don't have to sign up for anything. The word is the same for everybody. So you kind of just show
Oh,
what you're showing
gotcha.
is the path that you took to achieve guessing the right word.
I see. Okay. I thought everyone was getting different Wordles. Okay.
Nope,
That's
you
kind of
get
cool.
one a day.
Okay. It's like a crossword that everyone's doing together, kind of.
Exactly.
Thing,
Yeah.
but doesn't take as much time. I see.
Sometimes the words are really frustrating. Like there was the guy who created this is apparently British, and a couple days ago it was a really British. I guess nobody's gonna know it now, but it was Abbey, like Abbey Road, Abbey. Like how the fuck were you gonna end up there? I'm not British. I don't live in London. I don't ever go to the Abbey. I'm not going to Downton.
Scones.
Yeah. So that's my recommendation, though. Check it out, and you could just basically tweet your results out. It does track. You don't have to sign up for it or anything. Like there's no username, but it does track like your progress, like how many guesses each day takes you. So if you have like 5 guesses and it took you 3 tries, it shows up in a percentage bar.
Why are always a couple tiles a different color, like green or some shit?
Green means you've got the right letter in the right place. Yellow means you've got the right letter in the wrong place.
I see. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I was curious how it worked.
Best man time.
Best. We the best. Worst. The worst.
She is the worst person in the world. Huge skank, terrible, but thank you.
I always love hearing that song. We don't play it enough anymore. All right, since Brick is out this week sick, we decided we're just going to talk about a couple dumb news stories. And Mark, this one hits a little closer to home for you than it does for me, but I do enjoy watching Logan Paul get fucked.
Mm-hmm. He did get fucked, but didn't at the same time. But
he's going to end up making more money off of this video than he lost buying dumb Pokemon cards, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. The schadenfreude of people going to see him lose $3.5 million is interesting. What I don't understand, and maybe you can enlighten me on, is somebody that was like reviewing this to okay it for sale had to say, yes, this is authentic, and they were obviously wrong.
Yes. It was BBCE, an authentication company, and they were wrong. And they were actually on. I would recommend people interested in the story, and it's hard not to be. Like growing up, everyone knew about Pokemon cards, and especially with Logan Paul, seeing him get duped out of $3.5 million is pretty funny. But this all took place in Chicago. He came back to Chicago to open this box of 6, I guess, first edition Pokemon boxes.
And that's worth $3.5 million.
Yep. And he had BBCE, the authentication company, there with him. It was like 2 guys from there, and one guy was the owner, and they were the ones that authenticated it and said this is the real thing. They opened it up. It was not. And the look, not just on Logan Paul's face, like you could see it on this guy's face. No, he was thinking, I am absolutely fucked. And Logan Paul supposedly was refunded his money. I don't know if he was fully refunded his money or if they came to an agreement with the authentication company and with some other people that were in the works, because this was handed off, I believe, a few times between collectors. But yeah, he supposedly did make some of his money back. It's fucking horrible though. Watching this sucks.
I need you to explain to me why, if 3 unopened boxes of this are worth $3.5 million, what is the upside of ever opening that? Because it's only going to be worth more in the future. And I understand that he opens packs, he rips packs, as the kids say.
Yeah.
On his YouTube channel, but I mean, other than that, isn't the value of that only going to increase if you had one of those?
I'm looking up the amount, the price of a PSA, which is a grading company, a near mint first edition Charizard, like a 9 or a 10, because the only reason you'd open these things up is, I don't know that much about it, but I do know like the first edition stamp, it's not always the same. Like when you're looking at the condition of a card, you're not just looking at the edges of it. You're looking at the centering of it. Like, is the picture, like they line up everything. The picture in the center versus the small border edges. there's so much that goes into it. There's also a lot that goes into the stamp. There was, I don't know if they call it like the gray stamp or something like that, but there's like a faded first edition stamp, which is more gray than black, versus like a clear black first edition stamp on a Pokemon card is worth like double. So there's so many things that go into it. I just don't know, to your point, if opening these boxes would equate to possibly more money, you know, getting the card singular, because what you're looking for is a Charizard.
Yeah, and well, it's opportunity cost. Like you're literally selling the opportunity to have that Charizard or whatever card is worth a lot of money. But if you never open it, the supply is finite. This is something that's no longer in production. So as it becomes more rare, it only stands to reason that these would continue to go up, and it doesn't matter. I am admittedly not a big card guy anyways, which is why I wanted to talk to you about this. But to me, it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think you're also banking on the value continuing to go up for these first editions. So I don't think Logan had well, I guess he did have intentions to open it because he did open them. But maybe that was because he was speculating, because everyone was saying they're not real. There was a lot of people, to my knowledge, in the Pokemon community that were denying this and saying there is no way this thing is real. They were coming out with their own YouTube videos as to why the boxes he had were fake, and I'm sure that kind of that influenced him to say, you know what, I got to open them now. Like, I have to know.
I was kind of flipping through some of the comments, and the people who like are seeing a video of what this box looks like, they're like, oh no, that box is way too puffy, that's not real. I'm like, what? How the fuck do you know?
They knew.
And somehow they knew.
And well, Logan Paul, I just looked this up because I realized he does have a first edition Charizard, and he wore it, I believe, on around his neck to the Mayweather fight. That, according to him, was worth $1 million. I think there are Charizards that are first editions that are worth more, but this is a Beckett graded 10, so it's mint condition. And yeah, he claims it's $1 million card. So right there, that's a third or a little less than a third of the cost for all those boxes is if you pull a Charizard.
Yeah, but then you got to find somebody that'll pay you $1 million for it. And
yeah,
the other thing is, if he was smart, I shouldn't say that because he's a millionaire and he's probably very smart and knows how to market himself. He could easily have just flipped this and been like, yo, check out these sick G.I. Joe cards I got. I'm selling them a pack for $10,000 each.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
People
I
suck
guarantee
his dick,
you
man. People would have been all over that.
I bet there would be people that would pay upwards of $10,000 just for one of those packs to say, like, this was one of the packs on Logan Paul's video where he discovered his Pokemon cards were not real.
Jesus. All right. You sent me a picture of something.
Yeah. You can go ahead and pull that up.
So it's on the screen now. I'm going to need you to explain this to me.
Yeah, this best man segment, I just always gravitate towards interesting news stories. You can argue, is the best man, or is this best or worst man, specifically around this one guy who designed a leather jacket that was used in Netflix's Queer Eye show. And his name is James Concannon, and he gave one of the actors on the show, who I believe wore it a good amount throughout the whole series, in 2018, this leather jacket. And now Lego is remaking, you know, the whole set of Queer Eye. Like, they have all the little guys and stuff in Lego form now. And the design for the character that wore the jacket on the show has the jacket, and they changed it up a little bit. You can see, but I was comparing, and you can easily make the argument that, yeah, you're ripping off my design pretty much, because it still has the peace sign on the right collar, or the left collar there. It has, instead of the skull on the left part of the jacket, it has like a skull Lego head. So they're obviously taking the design of the jacket and doing their own little twist to it.
Hang on.
So this guy's suing Lego, and the reason I brought it up is because in our Discord earlier this week, we were all just fucking pumping each other up when people would be posting their Lego sets. And it's great when you see somebody buying a big $100 plus Lego set and being like, I'm about to build a shit. You're like, hell yeah, dude. I love Legos, but is this guy in the wrong trying to get some money out of Lego?
Fuck yes, he is. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and I'll tell you why. This guy is mad that Lego, who does this as a business, who recreates things that have been shown on television or in movies or whatever, and they take this and make it look real in a miniaturized set. It's a black leather jacket. I'm sorry, Mr. Kincannon, you did not come up with the black leather jacket with white lettering on it. That's been around for a really fucking long time, and you're being a dick here. And obviously, you're just trying to get some money out of this, and it's Lego. How could you be mad at Lego?
I think he's more mad because they're a very successful company. And they charge upwards of $100 for all their little sets. So you're having he's probably paying to have this for a 6-year-old son, and then just feels like he's getting shafted by not getting any money out of this.
I would be fucking honored if something I designed ended up in a Lego set. That would be incredible.
Yeah, and isn't this kind of parody law too?
Yes, especially I could easily make that argument. First of all, you're not going to win in court against Lego. Lego is literally a billion-dollar company with corporate lawyers. Like, you're stupid. Secondly, the fact that you took a Lego person's skull and replaced the actual, like, that is the definition of parody. So yeah, you're not going to win this case. Sorry, you're a dickbag anyways. I don't know why you would try and sue Lego. All right. Well, thank you for that story that made my blood boil. Let's move on to our movie review.
Do the synopsis. I'm going to order that.
So if you heard that fart, you know that it's time for us to talk about our movie review of the week. We are talking about Scream, which is the slasher released this past Friday, the 14th. Currently, it's 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, 89% from fans, which is kind of ridiculous, especially for a slasher horror movie. So we'll get into like the meta-analysis and the circular references to itself and parody, but being a little heavy-handed later. But that's maybe for our actual review. So this will be available in 45 days on Paramount Plus, which I think is a good model. I think 45-day theatrical run, especially for a movie like this, it's not going to kill in the box office. It's rated R. Granted, there's not a lot out right now other than like Spider-Man, and especially since they pushed Morbius. But this isn't going to make $1 billion in the box office. If you've seen a Scream movie, you know the premise for this. There's a slasher killer who calls houses and stabs you. There's not really anything else to say about this. We've got the typical ragtag group of... Are these kids high schoolers?
They're high schoolers, I believe, but they're not. This is Hollywood high schoolers. They're 28 years old in real life.
They were at a bar at one point. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
They weren't
shooting
drinking
pool at a bar.
Yeah, they weren't drinking technically at the bar.
All right, whatever. Let's excuse me. I want to do a little bit on the production of this because this is the first Scream movie to come out after the death of Wes Craven. Unfortunately, these were kind of like his baby. The Scream franchise was originally created by Kevin Williamson, who was the writer. He's back this time as the executive producer. He's kind of doing the Krasinski thing that we talked about earlier. So Wes Craven obviously was out for this, having been dead. And Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett have directed this. So they did Ready or Not in 2019, which actually, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of the crossover of just kind of crazy over the top self-referential stuff. I think maybe they went a little bit farther this time than I would have liked, but we'll get into that. So anyways, outside of the stabbing and murdering and stuff, what'd you think of this movie, Mark?
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. To be quite honest, I haven't seen all the Scream movies. I've seen 1, I have not seen 2, and I've seen parts of 3, and there was 4 too, right? There's 4 of them prior. Yeah, so you don't have to go into this seeing any of them, to be honest. You really don't, because I'm sure you know what the overall premise is. It would be nice because you'll have more of a connection with the characters that are from the originals, like Dewey or Sydney. But at the same time, I think you'll still have a good time. And this movie made it quite clear how it was going to go the meta route and self-aware route, which I did appreciate. There's times where I'm like, no, they didn't do that right. Like they were trying too hard to like be like, ooh, look how self-aware we are. But I think at the time where they did do it, where there was that whole monologue that one of the characters had about how scary movies are set up, and how there always has to be like this main character, and the main character was Tara, and she was in denial, and most likely the boyfriend was the killer, and things like that. I thought it was a funny, self-aware monologue, and I did have some appreciation for it. As for the kills, which is the most
That's what you're
important
watching
part of
for.
this movie, this is what you're watching it for, yeah. And I think they did a good job with the kills too. And at some points, I was like, wow, this is more gory than I had anticipated, and I remember these movies being. It's brutal. It is a brutal movie, and you can say, yeah, it's got that campy feel to it, like Ghostface. I think it's funny whenever you see him or her run around and chase these kids.
The
It's like,
clumsiest serial killer on the fucking
clumsiest.
face of the planet, dude. If you had to do a shot every time Ghostface got knocked over,
Yeah.
you would be shit-faced halfway through this movie.
Yeah, the amount of times that he's about to come barreling down on top of a girl with the knife just through her chest, but then the girl just kicks him with her left leg, and he just somehow flies in the air and does like 3 somersaults backwards. I'm like, no, if a girl did that to me, I'd be like, oh, that's funny, and I would move a couple inches.
I just,
Like,
yeah,
there's no way.
that's you really kind of take away the threatening nature of a killer when that killer can just be pushed over by a you
Yeah.
know, brisk gust of wind.
Yeah.
I thought that the self-reference, I get what you mean, but they hit you over the head with it so hard that
They
after
do,
a while
yeah.
I was just like, all right, I fucking get it.
Yeah.
And I think I was in on this movie until the final act, and they go into a big spiel about what's wrong with people today and all this stuff, and I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, I thanks for the lecture, but I don't need this. I don't get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I understand the fan service side of bringing back characters from previous movies. You got to have Dewey in there, right?
Yeah.
Nev Campbell, I don't care. Courtney Cox, no,
Yeah.
no, definitely not. She looks scarier than fucking Ghostface does.
Nev Campbell looks good.
Yes, because she didn't
looked
go get
good.
her face all fucked up.
Yeah.
But all right, what'd you think of Dewey as like the punching bag, the guy who came back? If you were Dewey, you would have just moved to an island, right, and gotten the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know, what are we supposed to think he's been doing the whole time? Just what is he doing? He's in this
Drinking.
like trailer park.
Yeah.
He's what?
He's just sitting around drinking all day, right? That's all I got out of
guess.
it.
Yeah.
Feeling sorry for himself, not being able to walk. He says he's been stabbed 9 times. I think I would probably give up and move away.
Yeah. I think he was needed in this movie, I would say. I liked seeing him in it. I agree. Like, I didn't need Courtney Cox whatsoever.
No.
Nev Campbell was fine. I understand that they needed like to bring back the original gang and like try to get this figured out and end it once for all type thing, just like they do with all the Halloween movies, the people that had a friend murdered back in the 80s or whenever, and they did it with a Halloween movie that just came out. So it's the quintessential, horror type movie storyline. I don't know. I just regardless think it surprised me, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch some of the older ones, because I did think it was one of the better horror movies I've seen in a while. Okay,
that's good. I don't know that I would go that far, but I think that in the moment I enjoyed it for what it was. I was taken out of it by the ending. Let's talk a little bit about some of the newer cast. I think you and I were both surprised when we saw Jack Quaid show up.
Mm-hmm.
Having basically avoided any trailers for this, not on purpose, just because.
Yeah,
I didn't know that he was in this, and he ended up doing a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, and Dylan Minette's in it as well. He's from that Netflix show that is actually one of the more successful Netflix shows, whether you like it or not. 10 Reasons Why? 13 Reasons Why.
13 Reasons Why.
There's like, 6 seasons of that? Because I was looking at a list of long-standing Netflix series, and that one's up there.
I've never seen any of it, but
Yeah.
This dude's 25, and they have him playing a high schooler.
I know.
And they just gave him frosted tips like nobody was going to notice.
He does have the build, though, of a 17-year-old boy. Like, he's skinny as hell. He is so skinny. He's got, didn't I say this in the theater? I'm like, he's got the structure of a Daniel Radcliffe. Like, in real life, he's absolutely 5'5". Like, you would stand next to him and just be like, wow, you are very small.
Who was he in Prisoners? Was he the kid?
He might. I have no idea.
Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked there. I also saw Melissa Barrera was in that. She was recently in The Heights. Mikey Madison was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was one of the Manson murderers.
Mm-hmm.
The girl. So she's got some knife swinging history, I guess. I don't know. What else do you say about this? We're in a fucking complete desert of good movies.
Mm-hmm.
This one was enough to get us through the week. I enjoyed my time seeing it. Mark had to get drunk before he went to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Were you happy with the reveal at the end? The whodunit reveal that we
You
get
turned and looked at me and you were like, this is what's going to happen. And you were right.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not much of a twist. I wasn't necessarily trying to predict it, but I'm sure that we probably could have arrived at it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
They did a ton they threw out every trope. Whatever trope was at that time convenient to make you think that person was the killer, they threw it at you, which is good. There's a ton of misdirects in there, especially I'm thinking of the opening scene. That was, by the way, when I realized that this was going to be a super gory movie. Because there's something about when you get the knife like through the palm of your hand.
Yeah, you're just like, oh God.
To me, it's not even the hurt and the pain. It's like, think about all the tendons and muscles and shit in there. Like, you're never going to be able to use that hand right again. And that really drives me nuts. I don't know why that particularly sticks with me, but it always has.
It's like there were scenes of people getting gutted in this movie, but
I was like,
the knife through the hand is more cringy. You're just like, no, all the tendons in the hand. No, that's got to be so painful.
So between that and especially in the beginning, a ton of stuff in the background, like in the tertiary, like you've got the primary and then the focus is on your character, and then behind they did a lot of like, here's a black blanket hanging on the wall that looks like Ghostface when you pan the camera around, and we just killed this music right here to make it sound like this was going to be a murder. So stuff like that keeps you on your toes. It raises the suspense. But again, the characters in this were just stupid, and they were openly talking about like the smart thing to do. And then they just actively would not do the smart thing.
Yeah. I thought it was funny too. Well, that's actually a spoiler. We won't talk about it. There are characters, though, that you think are maybe going to last a little bit longer, but don't. But then they're never referenced again by the group of friends. You're just like, yo, your friend just died 2 days ago, and you're throwing a banger of a party, just all laughing and shit. And just like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some things just don't make sense.
This is California, right? California teens, they're basically 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Especially the people who are playing them. All right, I don't have anything else to say about this, so do you want to rank it?
Sure. I will. I'm going to say save it.
I'm going to agree with you. I thought you were going to say see it, but to me, this just, like, having to go see it in a theater. If this was on streaming, absolutely, just go watch it. It's easy watch, under 2 hours. But for me, it's a save it. One other thing I wanted to say before we get off this is they did some broad daylight kills that I was kind of a fan of. It's like they're getting risky out here, and it's interesting in this way, only if you are a nerd and you start thinking about it enough. The killers in each of the Scream installments act differently because they're all different people. So that kind of fucking makes sense. But I appreciated that. So I think that'll probably wrap up our Scream things, unless you have something else to say. The main killer's motivation was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it had its flaws. I when looking at some other reboots we've had, Matrix, this didn't completely fail. That's why I'm more happy I saw this in comparison to a movie like that.
I do have to correct you though. It's not a sequel. It's a requel.
Oh, a requel. Yes, they made that very clear. Yes. Apologize.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Thanks to everybody who tuned in to episode 279 of the Chumpcast. As always, you can find us on social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can also call or text us at 847-920-6107. If you just call that number at like 3 a.m., it's actually Mark's landline. You should do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll pick up right away.
Next week. You know what I was thinking? We could do The Last Duel with Ben Affleck and it was like that.
Matt Damon. He
Yes.
looks like Theo Vaughn. Yeah.
And Adam Driver. We could do that. I think that's on streaming now. So all I'm trying to do is avoid seeing a shitty movie in theaters. We could also do like the first 4 episodes of Peacemaker if we wanted to.
Yeah. No, I'd be down for that. Probably more so for the Peacemaker episodes. Either way.
I don't know. The Last Duel looked okay. So we earlier this week, Mark, you sent us the request to send you our 5 favorite movies of the year. And that kind of led me down this rabbit hole of like, were there any good movies this year?
Way better than 2020, I'll tell you that. Go back and look at those movies. Holy shit, those were bad.
Well, what brought this up is like I'm looking at like lists. I want to see what other people thought was the best movie, and like maybe I forgot about something. The Green Knight was at like top 5 on everybody's fucking list.
So bad.
That movie was horrid.
So bad. But are you surprised because
It's
Nomadland.
A24, it's fart sniffy.
Nomadland was number 1 on everyone's list last year too. I'm like, come on, get the hell out of here with that shit.
You know what? To each their own. If that's your kind of movie, so be it. It's just I don't get it, and that's pretty much all I can say.
I am happy that people are recognizing Pig because I thought for a moment people were just going to be in denial about it being a good movie because it has Nic Cage in it. People can't get over the fact that maybe Nic Cage can actually put on a really good performance again.
I don't get people that think that Nic Cage is a bad actor. He's not. He's incredible. He just takes a lot of bad movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mentioned that to say that The Last Duel showed up on a lot of those best movies of 2021 lists. So maybe worth a shot.
Yeah. I actually saw, I'm looking at our list right now for next week. The Tender Bar is out. I saw that with Ben Affleck. It was okay. It's not going to be the movie we want to review, though. I'll tell you that.
Good.
It was fine to watch with Kelly. We were all kind of tired, exhausted, and we put it on. It was like, I wouldn't even call it a feel-good movie, but it's a movie where you kind of can just hang out and watch it. Arcane we have on here, which is the League of Legends show on Netflix. I don't know. It might be.
Yeah, we'll think about it. We'll always come back with something. We just don't know what it's going to be. But again, we appreciate y'all tuning in. And I guess until next time.
Jumps out, motherfucker.